Now we're going to mark up the abdominal area, and the first thing I look at is kind of assessing the abdominal region that we want to work in, which identify where the rib cage is, the edge of the rib cage, which would be up here. And you can put a mark there if you want. I'm going to do that just illustration purposes, but I find the tips of the edge of the rib cage, which kind of outlines the abdominal wall. So these are the tips of where the rib cage is. And then down in the pelvis, you've got these two prominent bones. And I just put a little mark kind of below this. And you can see we've got kind of a centered out section of the abdominals. And so what I'm looking for is from the center of the umbilical, I kind of start working my way out. And I look to see how much area I need to work on and how excessive it is. But essentially, we're going to work in this area that I've marked, the top of the rib cage. I'm not going to go much higher than the top of the rib cage. And for the most people, you'll find have more of their concerns in the lower section below the umbilical or the belly button. So when laying out an abdominal area, this would be considered a pretty large area to be working with. So it's just being conscious of how many shots you're performing. But I usually start right in the center of the umbilical, and I'll put, obviously we never work over the umbilical area. So we have two marks down below, and I will start laying out the pattern with your ruler from that section. Mark my two lines, and then I just continue across. And I'll be honest, there's a roll here, a line. This section is going to be thicker than this middle section across. So kind of what I like to do is stay focused on the lower section, and the same coming across the other direction. You can always continue up the stomach. It's just going to get into the point where you're performing an awful lot of shots in one little area. That section, and then we can repeat that in the other section. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply that by 2 because we're going to the other side. That's 24 plus 2 in the middle, and then 2 above. Probably wouldn't go too high above the umbilical, but we would probably start another shot here. That would be close to 25 shots. That's a considerable amount of shots. It's going to take you a considerable amount of time to do. I probably would be cautious about doing that many shots in the area. I usually like to stick to more of the trouble area, not going too far up to the outside, but generally the bottom area, 15 to 20 shots maybe max. We're on that cusp of maybe 15 to 20, 25 in this pattern. But this is how I would lay out the stomach, looking for kind of the thickest areas, squeeze it together, and kind of look at where that area is, and it would be right around where the lower umbilical area, and then maybe up here a little bit. You know, it tends to have like a crease right here that I not necessarily focus on too much.